So in this video we will be restoring another road bike, and this is a endurance road bike from Giant. This is the Giant Defy aluminum SL model. So this is the model number right here, and I've had a Giant Defy carbon fiber model before, which I actually used to ride a 100-mile century up in New York near the Poughkeepsie area. I think it was the I can't discover Hudson Valley ride. So I rode the Defy with my buddy, and we did 100 miles in probably around 8-9 hours, and that was my first century and probably the last century that I rode. I don't know when I'm gonna do another century next, but that was pretty interesting. So I had a very good impression on the Defy because I know it's very comfortable for up to 100 miles ride on that carbon fiber model. This one I found locally. The seller is selling it for a huge discount, and the reason being he's probably overweight and he busted 3 spokes on the rear of this bike. So yeah, I need to find a replacement wheel set, at least the replacement rear wheel for this one. But I think that's probably the only thing that needs to be fixed on this bike. Otherwise, it should be a very easy and quick restoration. The bike features this one in particular features a 105 group set. The only thing that's not in the group set is the brake. I believe this is the Tektro brake because there's no 105 markings on here, so it's probably a Tektro. Giant likes to use Tektro on some of the group set replacements, so yeah, but don't quote me on that. It could be a different model or different brand, but it does look like a Tektro. Nothing wrong with Tektro, it's just not in the 105 group set. Okay, so 105 shifters right here, front for the front and back. This is a double, so 2x10 setup. So being a 2x10, I'm thinking this is probably a bike model year around 2005 to 2010, because that's back when the 105 group set is still 10 speed. Okay, I'm gonna try to find out the model year for this one in particular. What's interesting about this Defy aluminum is that they used a lot of coherent color schemes on this bike, being the blue anodized cap for the stem, and the blue colored spacers, the FSA blue colored headset, and even blue crimps for the cables, and the blue accent over here on the frame, and the blue anodized the holder for the front derailleur, the blue bolts, and what else is blue? The derailleur hanger is also blue. So they did put a lot of thought into making the color schemes coherent on this one, which, you know, kudos to them. It's quite interesting. But again, as I said, this bike I got for a great deal because it's not in working condition. The rear wheel is busted. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm probably going to restore the rear wheel by buying the new spokes, but for now I'm going to be using a different rear wheel for this bike to just get it into working condition. So I already found a wheel set that I'm going to be swapping the cassette over here on the broken wheel to the new used wheel that I found, and then I'm going to try to just do a general tune-up. Namely, all the cables are pretty rusted, so you can see, you know, this brake cable is totally gone, toast. We need a new brake cable. The shifter cable looks to be okay, but I'm still gonna be just putting on new shifter cable, and for that reason I'm probably gonna be replacing the handlebar grips as well, because it does look like it's, you know, it's worn, or it's being reapplied or reinstalled one way or the other. In the past it does look like so. So I have some new tapes laying around, so I'm going to do that as well. And the tires does look like being replaced before, probably, maybe. This is a very low-end tire. It's a Kenda, I think it's called Criterium 700C, 125 PSI, 25C tires, which if I find replacement, I'm going to be, you know, using a new tire, whatever. That's what needs to be worked on. So just give you guys a heads up and give you guys a preview of what this bike looks like before the restoration. And again, I already cleaned the bike, so in terms of paint, it does have some scratches, but overall paint is still nice and shiny. I haven't waxed the frame, but it does look like it's in, you know, if I have to rate from 1 to 10 in terms of the condition of the frame, I would rate this at 7.5 out of 10 for the frame. The group set has some wear, so maybe 7 out of 10 on the group set. Not a significant amount of wear. It does look like it's being kept in pretty good condition overall, and I'm assuming the rear wheel probably busted shortly after the seller obtained this bike. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next section after I get the rear wheel replaced and fixed. Alright, so as you can see, I got really lucky because I found a replacement rear wheel. It's actually a wheel set that I got, which is very easy to replace those broken spokes. I'm gonna take the cassette and switch it around to this one. This one had an 11 speed, but the 10 speed should be compatible. So I'm gonna remove the 11 speed, hopefully sell this 11 speed cassette for a little money to recover the cost. And then I'm gonna be putting the 10 speed over here on this wheel set. This is a nice wheel set actually. This is a 105 Shimano wheel set, 11 speed compatible. I'm gonna show you guys right here, right? So it's actually more like a small upgrade compared to the Giant PR2, which is very budget, entry-level, heavy wheel set that's not really designed for durability. All right, so I'm gonna come back after I switch the cassette. If you guys don't know how, there are plenty of YouTube videos on how to install cassettes and remove cassettes. So yeah, go check those out before you do your own project, but I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, so as you can see, I did replace the rear wheel with a used one that I just bought. So that's the broken one, which I'm gonna get some new spokes and restore. That's from the replacement wheel, the 11-speed cassette that I took off. And right now the bike has the 10-speed cassette on the replacement wheel that I got. Now, I just discovered a couple more issues that preventing me from, you know, calling this a minimum restoration effort, because besides the entire hosing and cable needs to be replaced, the 105 shifter also needs to be rebuilt. Okay, so the old grease in here is preventing the pawl from catching the gears in turn to shift the to upshift the gear properly. So as you can see, it's very common on the older shifters that had dried out grease from not having been ridden for a while. So definitely I'm going to take off all the cables and housing, cut them off, and take off the shifters and just do a rebuild on the shifter. So hopefully by the time that I'm finished with rebuild, I would be able to put this bike back together in a much better shape than how I got it. Also needs work is this rear wheel. Okay, the rear wheel looks like the hub was loose. It was not properly tightened. So I need to work on the hub as well, and also inspect on the bearings inside, because when I was trying to turn the wheels, I can feel a little of the roughness on the rear wheel. So that definitely needs to be checked out as well. So those are the things that I'm going to be working on, and hopefully shouldn't take long, and by the time I come back to the next section, the bike should be ready to go, and I would be able to give you guys a ride impression on what I think about the aluminum version of the Giant Defy from probably around 2010 time frame, or 2010 era. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next section. All right, so here is the fully restored Giant Defy endurance bike, and I'm not particularly sure about the year model, but this one have a 10-speed 2x10 speed Shimano 105 full group set for the shifter, crank, front derailleur and rear derailleur. The only thing that's not 105 is probably the tactile brakes over here. The tactile brakes works okay. It's not, you know, the most responsive or best braking power brakes, but it's better than it's average. Okay, it's not the worst and it's not the best, but it does look really nice with this polished chrome look. Okay, and I put brand new cables for everything, brand new handlebar, grip tape, and of course with the full restoration of the 105 shifters, it's shifting smooth as butter. And so I always use a little bit of the grease on the cables when I put the cables on here. So the housing it's got some cables in there, so it's not gonna rust or dry out anytime soon. But this bike, as you can see, fully restored, is beautiful. And how does it ride? It rides like a fast road bike with a slightly more upright geometry, and that's how it feels, and that's how the endurance bike should feel. You can get it more aggressive by lowering the stem, you know, all the way to the bottom, so it works more like a dedicated road bike. But the advantage with endurance bike is you can run thicker tires. So this one can definitely go 38 if you ask me, and this is I think a 20, I'm sorry, not 38, can definitely go 32 without any issues, which I think is more than enough for any kind of road cycling purpose. Compact geometry, and all the blue color, anodized blue, is actually factory. Okay, so it's factory installed. Everything's giant seat post, proprietary probably because it's got a 2-bolt, and giant butte derailleur, front derailleur holder, and even anodized how do you call it, anodized bolts for the water cage. So it's very cohesive, including the blue rims over here on the front. Now remember, the rear I restored and used a upgraded 105 rear hub on the rear wheel, so it's not gonna have that blue logo over there, but it still works really nice. I did a full clean of the cassette, so the cassette looks to be in excellent condition, actually, just covered with grease at the very beginning, including the shifter. The shifter is also in very good condition. And so this bike, again, I got it for very little money because it was in horrible condition, and I did restore it, and now it's in fully rideable condition, fully tuned up, shifts fantastic, no misshifts, and the wheels are true, and it's ready for the new owner. So what I think about the bike is it's definitely a great value. If you can get this bike for probably under $400 or $500 and in very good working condition, this is a workhorse bike. Once you get this bike, you probably don't need to upgrade for quite a long time, because even if it's aluminum frame, it's designed to have more vertical compliance. So when you're riding, it's pretty comfortable, and it's also able to take fairly larger tires according to modern day standards. Now 32, no issues. 38, it might not fit. So you probably don't want to use this for a gravel bike build, right? And it's also got rim brakes, so really not that good for gravel riding purpose. But on the road, it's super capable. I was easily able to maintain a 20 miles per hour plus speed just on the local street, like in my neighborhood. So it can go fast, okay? The 105-10-Speed 2x10 group set actually works fantastic. Shifts with no issues at all. The shifter, it is able to, this little thing is popping out, so I just need to pop it back in there once I get everything set up. Okay, right, so yeah, it's a very capable bike. Are there any downside? Yes, I think the original wheel set is kind of weak. The giant P series of the wheel sets are some of the heaviest, and they also does not hold, or they're not built for, they're not quality built. So Usually if I have a chance, the first thing I'm gonna do for most of the giant bikes that comes with a PR or PX wheel sets, I'm gonna get those wheel sets replaced. And that's gonna elevate the bike's riding experience quite a lot more without spending a lot of money, okay? You can get quality wheel sets, aluminum wheel sets for around $200-300, and you can get excellent quality entry-level carbon, Chinese-made carbon wheel sets, rim brakes, for probably around $300-400 on AliExpress. So in terms of upgrade, wheel set first. The second thing I want to upgrade is definitely the brakes. Now I ride in Miami mostly at dedicated bike lanes, so I don't really need the brake that much. But again, if you have a chance, just spend a little extra money, like upwards of $50-100 to get a better set of branded brakes. So my personal favorite is usually Shimano 105 and up, and or SRAM, even SRAM Force and up is going to provide you with excellent stopping power on the rim brake side. And that will be the two things I want to upgrade. Otherwise, I don't see any need to upgrade this bike if you're just thinking about getting into road cycling, and this is a great way to ensure the word of road endurance bike riding. Now remember I said at the very beginning I had a giant Defy Advanced, which is a carbon frame, exact same geometry, the compact geometry, and I rode that bike for 100 miles, no issues. This bike, you can feel a little bit more of the, so it's slightly less compliant compared to the carbon frame, but it's still very compliant compared to a dedicated road bike. So if you're thinking about comfort, this bike definitely is going to provide you comfort, but the most important thing is it's also going to provide you value. It's a lot cheaper, probably more than half cheaper than a carbon frame giant Defy with rim brakes. Okay, so that's my opinion. And if you guys have any questions about the giant Defy endurance road bike, and again, this one I think is around 2010-ish year model, so let me know if you know the specific year model. I'd be interested to know. So yeah, feel free to ask me any questions down below, and I hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, please do hit the like button or subscribe to my channel, as I will have more road cycling videos coming out for you guys. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.